How's it everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about a video game from Warner Brothers with an Australian anti-hero as one of the main characters. No, not that one. The one that everyone actually likes. Roll the tape. Mad Max? More like mid-max, am I right? Still got it. Born from the visionary minds of George Miller, the original creator of the Mad Max universe, and Cory Barlog, director of God War 2. The journey to bring this post-apocalyptic epic to life was as perilous as the wasteland itself. On a completely unrelated side note, do you know George Miller directed Happy Feet? Isn't that weird? That's weird, right? He was also filthy. Originally envisioned as a tie-in with the animated Mad Max film, the game's development faced numerous challenges and setbacks. Eventually, the animated film was cancelled so that George Miller could focus on the 2015 movie, Fury Road. The game became its own standalone thing. With the background guidance of George Miller himself, Avalanche Studios embarked on a quest to create a game that captured the essence of the Mad Max universe. A fading world where danger lurks around every corner, and survival is a battle fought with steel, fire, and gasoline. From the thunderous clashes of vehicular combat to the gritty brutality of hand-to-hand skirmishes, Mad Max delivers an immersive experience unlike any other. Although, despite such involvement with industry darlings and such a promising concept, the game sort of under-delivered. It sold relatively well, but it just didn't have any cultural impact at the time. Although years later, people are looking back at this game and it is now being considered a cult classic.
Who knew that 2015 was going to end up being the year of Mad Max? George Miller has been killing it in the movie theaters, and now Avalanche Studios is about to kill it, I think, from what I've seen, with Mad Max, the video game. Tell us a little bit about your vision for Mad Max as a video game.
From an art direction point of view, it's been really important to portray a really exciting Mad Max universe for a game, and we wanted to show a big open world that's interesting to explore. It's threatening to you, and the curiosity is always there. You really want to make sure what's going on over there, what's happened there, how can I protect myself. From a visual point of view, always standing on your toes, never know what to do next.
George Miller's universe and the way that he's populated it with all these really weird, grotesque-looking individuals and different environments and different kinds of dangers leaves a lot open for gameplay. What was imperative for this game?
I would say that the key thing for the game is the car combat and the car system. Like, the whole story is about how Max loses his car in the beginning of the game. Yeah. And then the whole story arc is about rebuilding that so he can, again, try to escape to the plains of silence that he seeks so badly.
There is a simplicity and almost a genius level simplicity to the story that we're seeing in the movie. Is that something that you guys took to heart when you're building the game? You wanted to just keep it pure and fairly straightforward on what the objectives were?
There is a deeper thought behind the story, like in all the films and in the game now. It's how Max goes through a constant loop of being crazy or mad, and then he gets in contact with people. He gets a little bit more sane, and then some bad things happen, and he goes mad again. So there is actually a deeper story than you think about.
The new movie is visually amazing. Universally, everybody is just blown away by the look of it. Did you know it was going to be that beautiful when it was being made?
No, not really. I mean, we had some initial contact in the beginning, but then we had different paths. So we've been working on this game for a few years now, and we had a strong idea what the universe should feel like, but visually we didn't really know. But I think today, I think at least, that we have a game that fully extend this dark beauty of the wasteland that the Mad Max universe portrays. I'm very happy with our product when we actually compare it to others.
So first things first, let's get the story out of the way. And don't worry, I won't take too much of your time to discuss this. But I think it's important to go over it just to understand some of the finer things later in the video.
Max, seeking fuel, clashes with the tyrannical Scriber Scrotus, who steals Max's car and leaves him stranded. Max allies with a hunchbacked mechanic named Chumbucket to build a new car, the Magnum Opus, and seeks revenge. Along the way, they confront warlords, liberate territories, and race for a vital engine. Hope, a companion, is tragically lost, driving Max to vow vengeance. In a climactic showdown, Max destroys Scrotus, but has to sacrifice both Chumbucket as well as the Magnum Opus. He emerges victorious, but is still haunted by his past, and drives off.
There we go, nice and easy. Max is a man of very few words, his silence a testament to the weight of his experiences. Yet beneath his stoic exterior lies a complex and deeply troubled soul. Throughout his journey, Max is forced to confront not only the dangers of the wasteland, but also the demons that haunt his own psyche, mostly done through a character called Jeet, who I'll talk about a bit more further on in the video. His actions are driven by a singular purpose: to survive and find the plains of silence. Hi, Editor Brendon here. This is in fact two things, not one thing. I apologize for Video Brendon's dim-wittery. Despite his solitary nature, Max forms unlikely alliances with those who share his struggle, from the loyal mechanic Chumbucket to the tragic figure of Hope. However, I also feel that Max's character feels undeveloped and lacking in depth. I suppose it's the problem with just his archetype as a character, especially from the 2010s onward. This kind of character just became oversaturated, and I don't think Max really does anything to really stand out in this regard. His character arc can also feel quite jilted in the game, but overall I think he is a competent character. Moving on to the secondary protagonist is Chumbucket. Now, Chumbucket is a fantastic character. I love this character. He is great. He is the perfect foil to Max. Chumbucket is he's this insane, overzealous, whimpering, pathetic, yet sternly loyal character. I just think he makes a great foil to Max.
Yeah, I spied you in the long lookers. They left you for the blowflies, and they snatched your ride, and now you'll be looking to snatch it back. That's what the prophecy says. You're the driver.
That's right.
Then Chumbucket is your man. Yeah, I'm your man. Yeah, yes, I am. See, I have a vehicle that can take you to your car. I do say. That's right. See, she's not running now. Sorry for that. I came here for the parts. You see, I'm a black finger. I can make it work again. And I think D, too, is gonna need an overhaul.
Don't go stray.
No, I won't. I know you'll find me and dismantle me. I know. Chumbucket's not stupid.
Back.
Wait, please. I have an idea. It's better for you, and it's better for me. Just listen. Look, your black on black is toast. It's scrap. It's gone. She'll never be whole again. Huh? Now I can build you a car, bring into creation one that's faster and tougher than the black on black ever was. Yeah?
How tough, how fast?
Very. Faster than fear. Tougher than an iguana's gonads. Come with me. We mustn't be seen. Huh? I'll take you to the tabernacle, and when you see what I'm gonna show you, you'll be shouting holy all day long.
This ain't her car. It's just a mess of parts.
No. She's knowledge from the numinous, divinely inspired. She wills herself upon this world. Look! See? Here. Divine meets drive shaft and a symbiosis of faith. Modded and made to measure. You want some of that old-time religion, huh? I got a classic whammy turbo high dog, huh? Hell yeah! Bulletproof and torture-tested. Statically upgraded with chum bucket overdrive. Coils, and springs, shocks, and links, too.
It's gotta be 8 cylinders, nothing less.
We will get there, yes. First, we have to get her beautificial body.
Show me where it is.
Yes! Come, no time like this.
And he contrasts Max's gritty, stoic, selfish desires really, really well. Because Chumbucket is also this very self-serving and selfish character who is obsessed with the magnum opus and his own delusions, to the point where he doesn't care who is hurt as long as the magnum opus survives, including himself. His character also, I think, picks up where Max's character lacks, filling in these sort of voids of silence and this very flat main character that you have. And overall, I just think he's a great addition to the Mad Max mythos. 10 out of 10, would let him fix my car again. Hope is a pretty boring character. She just barely has any screen time during the events of the game, and her character is pretty rushed, as I think I found the story at the end very rushed. I think her character kind of suffers as a result of this. If she were to be removed, I don't think the game would really change that much. If I were to rewrite this, I think I wouldn't include her at all, and I would keep kind of the conflict between Max and Chumbucket, and I think the character conflict between Max and Chumbucket is far more interesting than the relationship shown between Max and Hope. She isn't bad, but again, she kind of is underdeveloped, and I don't think she really makes sense, if that makes sense. Like, the story kind of shows that Max, I don't know, likes her. Again, Max is he's a very blunt character, so it's barely recognizable there. Yeah, not bad, but not good either. Also, while looking for footage for Hope, I stumbled across a fan film involving the two characters of Glory and Hope. So I suppose some people felt the same way as I did. I thought it was pretty cool, so I'd recommend giving it a watch. The trailer, that is. And now, moving on to the villain of the story, Scabrous Scrotus. Scabrous Scrotus. Not too much to say about him. He's not the most complex villain in the world, but he's undeniably striking with his menacing appearance and menacing presence, instilling fear in both players and all the characters within the game. I think he serves as a good antagonist, although I kinda wish we got to see more of him, as he only really appears at the beginning of the game and the final act. But that makes his reveal that he's alive even better, as at the beginning of the game, it appears that you as the character have killed him. But he turns up, living on just because he is so angry and so stubborn that he just refuses to die. Griffer is quite different to the other characters in the game, in the fact that he may or may not even exist, and may merely be a figment of Max's imagination. Throughout the game, you acquire these things called Griffer tokens, which you can spend to upgrade things like health. Griffer will appear on the map randomly, and when you go to him, a short cutscene will play. These are usually quite enjoyable, as Griffer slowly deconstructs Max and his legend. There are a set amount of these cutscenes, and it is quite possible to fully upgrade Max before you get to see the fruition of these cutscenes, and you can get completely locked out of them.
There you are. Shifter of sands, letter of blood, remnants of a ruined past. You say you seek the plains of silence, but do you not wander them right now? The remains of your life, a perpetual flight, an escape from all that is human, until one day the plains of silence end and you begin. You have a purpose in this life, my friend, although you fear to dream it. But pain will come, much more pain, before this purpose to you is made manifest.
You know nothing of me.
Look behind you, at dune after dune of drifting, half-forgotten terrors. You flee them always, these past phantoms, and the madness that crawls inside. You've come to Griffer for a reason. Deep inside, twisted around horrors from which you run, lies your strength. Griffer can help. Help you venture down to where you daren't go yourself, and lay bare your true promise.
And then there are the myriad of other secondary characters, whether it is Jeet, Gutgash, Pink Ice, Dunkgam, and others. These characters each bring their own unique personalities and motivations to the table, whether they're offering assistance to Max or presenting new challenges to overcome. While I don't have too much to say about each individual character, they are generally well done, and I think the interactions with Max help add depth and complexity to the world. Alright, now with all the boring stuff out of the way, let's discuss the star of the show, the vehicular combat. Or as my parole officer insists on calling it, vehicular manslaughter. Mad Max boasts one of the best vehicle systems out there. The combat is a cornerstone of Mad Max's gameplay, allowing players to engage in high-octane battles across the open-world desert. The strengths of this mechanic lie in its visceral action and dynamic encounters, as players utilize the magnum opus to ram, smash, burn, blow up, and destroy enemy vehicles with brutal and satisfying impact.
Until death.
Go in! Kill! He's sleeping! Fuel tanks on all the sides! A weak spot if ever there was one!
However, while vehicular combat is undeniably thrilling, its repetitive nature can become somewhat predictable over time, and I found that there's a lack of deeper strategic elements other than crashing into the cars or blowing them up, which can kind of lead to some monotony. The premise of the game means that you are allowed to customize your vehicle. There are many aspects of your car that you can customize, whether it's the wheels, the chassis, the suspension, the engine, the tires, etc., etc. This offers the ability to tailor the magnum opus depending on what playstyle you're going to go for, whether you're going to go for a tank or a speed demon. Things like armor will decrease your handling and your maximum speed, meaning that if you are going to go for an armored vehicle, you're going to be very slow. Vice versa, if you remove all the armor and focus on speed, you become a lot more vulnerable. Additionally, you can add and upgrade different weapon types, such as harpoons, flamethrowers, and thunderpoons. The game even has a little bit of customization options for your vehicle. Emphasis on some? Yeah, the customization options leave a lot to be desired. However, I'm not too critical of it. The game provides you with a few different car shells that you can put on the magnum opus, which change the look and feel of your car vastly, along with some of the paint jobs that you unlock by defeating the top dogs. But that's as far as the good customization options go. The decals that you can put in your car are alright, but that's all they are, alright. The game also presents to you different Archangel presets. These are good baselines to what your car could look like, however, there really is no point in using the Archangels as they are. Rather, you are just going to use your best options for the car that you currently have. You can also drive other cars besides the Magnum Opus, but again, there's no point to this. The other cars are useless. For starters, you have limited access to weapons. There are no customization options for these cars, and worst of all, you don't get Chum Bucket. Not only will you lose access to one of the best characters in the game, you also can't fix your car, like at all. Well, you have to use scrap, but you use scrap to upgrade your Magnum Opus, and scrap is hard to come by. So you really don't want to use scrap to fix the scrapulence. It's not like you even need to collect cars for any reason. It's just an option that you can use. While Mad Max is renowned for its vehicular mayhem, the game also offers a rich array of non-vehicular gameplay mechanics that help broaden the scope of the game, such as its melee combat and exploration. At its core, hand-to-hand combat in Mad Max is visceral, responsive, and brutal, drawing inspiration from the Wasteland itself. The combat is quite similar to combat in the Arkham series, so the game really makes you feel like you're Mad Max. Throughout the game, you can also add different finishes and different combos using the upgrade system. The upgrade system, similar to the Magnum Opus upgrade system, allows you to do various things, such as add new moves, change Max's hairstyle, and upgrade things like his fists and jacket. Although, this is the Wasteland, so Max will never really have drip.
Do you want drip? Well, if you do, imaginary audience member, then today's sponsor is perfect for you.
I've been fortunate enough to secure sponsorship from an independent company on Etsy called Anime Catcher. Definitely not a friend I begged to sponsor me to feel like a big YouTuber. That would be ridiculous. Their store boasts a collection of shirts based on popular video games and movies, ranging from the eccentric, over-the-top fighters of Tekken to the complex and enigmatic heroes of Dark Souls.
This is no laughing matter, I tell you.
There's a range of different options to choose from. I personally have a Jack 5 and Solaire shirt being delivered soon, and I'm quite excited to get my hands on them. Currently, they have an April sale going on, where you can enjoy up to 20% off on their shop-wide sale. So head over to the store and snag some merch. Thank you again for the sponsorship. Exploration is also a key aspect to the gameplay experience. As you venture across vast open landscapes, From the nautical abandoned harbors of Australia to the dried out oceans where water has receded, to the crumbling remnants of a once prosperous city, there are various different environments to explore, whether scaling towering structures or delving into subterranean caverns. You may also experience sandstorms throughout the game. The storms are brutal, showcasing the devastating state of the world you are living in. Flying debris, harsh winds, and constant lightning strikes. The storms are a deadly affair for those not prepared. Deja vu. You can hide from the storms, but you can also brave into the clutches of the dusty beast. But why, I hear you ask? Well, you can go fishing for Mutaloot. Mutaloots are big boxes full of scrap and will make you as rich as you could be in a post-apocalyptic Australia. You just have to be ready for a slight breeze. Mad Max is occasionally labeled as a survival game, but that's a bit like describing my relationship with your mother as strictly professional. The survival elements in the game are lacking, with features such as food, water, fuel management, and base building falling short. Water serves as your primary healing method, carried in a flask and replenished at water collectors. Initially, water scarcity may pose a challenge, but as the game progresses, you'll find yourself drowning in it. Food also acts as a healing resource, but its necessity diminishes as the game goes on, making it feel rather redundant. Fuel conservation, an exciting prospect in paper, fails to deliver the anticipated thrill. The concept of meticulously planning your driving routes to conserve fuel sounded promising, but in practice, fuel shortages are a rarity. With the ability to store fuel in your vehicle, worries about running out become virtually non-existent. Additionally, upgrading strongholds with project parts further diminishes the survival mechanics. These projects conveniently fill your canteen, heal you, and refuel your car, making survival feel like an afterthought. While these upgrades add some flavor to the experience, they ultimately lack depth and fail to leave a lasting impression. But now, I have to talk about
the Ubisoft patented open-world design of slowly taking over the map through mundane and repetitive tasks.
So this aspect is probably the game's biggest problem child, with exceptions. First of all, you have to liberate these camps. You come up to a camp, you search the perimeters for defenses, and depending on what camp it is, you can either rush in before the defenses become buffed, destroy the defenses making an easy infiltration, or some camps even have hidden paths that you can get into without engaging with the defenses at all. Once in the camp, you are given a goal. Sometimes it's just defeating all the enemies inside the camp, other times it's destroying the gas pumps, or sometimes it's destroying all the gas canisters in the camp. But overall, the camps are pretty fun. Many of them differ in design, some camps have a very specific gimmick, and it's always fun blowing stuff up. Moving on, you have the convoys. Convoys are groups of cars moving around in a defined path. The goal is to take down the leader of the convoy. This is where the vehicular combat shines. You slowly whittle down all the cars in the defenses before taking down the big guy. And you're always rewarded with a hood ornament, which offers different benefits. Then you have the scarecrows, these big towers that showcase Scabrous' influence across the wasteland. These are quite easy to take down, usually just having you drive into them or grappling them. However, this gets old after a while, and there are quite a few of these things within the game. The death runs are races scattered around the world, totaling 15 in number, each with its own set of challenges. While they're definitely fun in their own right, I honestly don't have much to say about them, as I only ever did 2 or 3 of them. By completing them, you earn griffer tokens and a fueling station, but there's no real need for it since there are much more effective methods already available. There are 3 types of races: scatter races, which are typical races against a few opponents; barrel bashes, which add the challenge of blowing up barrels at certain points in the race; and time bomb races, where you race against the clock while enemies attack you. Then there's the Opus Wars, where you race your magnum opus against other players. But, well... The top dogs and their respective camps serve as mini-bosses in the game. While the camps themselves don't differ too much from regular camps, some of the top dog camps present unique challenges. There are a total of 6 top dogs in the game, all sharing similar designs and enemy AI. The only real difference between them is the paint job they've adorned themselves with. You have top dogs like Gaspergrope, Gutnoose, Stump Grinder, Pig and Sticker, Cocklocker, and, well, this guy. My favorite top dog camp is Gutnoose's. Instead of a regular camp, it's presented as a gladiator arena where you must defeat waves upon waves of increasingly difficult enemies before facing Gutnoose himself. It's a really fun experience. And then you have the minefields. Ugh, the minefields. These are abysmal. The problem with the minefields is that you can't tackle them using the magnum opus. The only way to properly get rid of them is to use Chumbucket's buggy, as it comes with a dog that allows you to sniff out all the mines within the fields. This is not a short task. Often having to go back to one of your base camps to select the car, then driving around aimlessly until you find a minefield. Then you spend a few minutes driving around until a mine is highlighted, in which case you get out of the car, you disarm it, and then do that a few more times. This is a must if you want to liberate your territory and gain the rewards that come with it. As you see, in order to get certain upgrades for the magnum opus, you have to liberate certain territories. And after a while, it's just not worth it. I think that covers mostly everything I wanted to talk about. There were 1 or 2 things I didn't talk about, but that's just because I don't really have much to say. Well, I guess I do have a bit to say. Like the relics that you can collect that aid environmental storytelling. But that's it. They're neat enough, and if you're a completionist, then, well, you do you. or the types of enemies you get and the respective factions. The enemies have well thought out designs, but they just never really stood out to me enough to say anything. The only standout enemies were the war criers, the support enemies that buff other enemies, and the bombers, who, well... And that's just because they occasionally throw a spanner in the works when it comes to melee strategy, but only occasionally. Vehicle enemies are broadly mechanically similar, most just being regular cars. Some cars have extra war boys that will jump on your car. I mentioned the drop kicker earlier that drops bombs in your path, and some cars just have extra armor or just additional weapons. And that's Mad Max. Although it may sound like I have a lot of negative things to say about the game, I really do like it. And while making this video, I even thought it looked so fun that I started a new game. I think I'm happy in saying that what the game doesn't do well, with some systems being shallow and the gameplay loop being largely repetitive, it at least does it competently. And what it does well, it does great at. The visuals are fantastic, the characters and voice acting are superb, and at times the combat is super thrilling and really does offer such a unique experience. I would be a fool not to recommend the game. Whew, boy, this video has been in the works for a long time. The footage that you have seen I recorded in 2022, and I've just been sitting on it in the past 2 years. So I really do hope that you enjoy the video, because I had a lot of fun making it, and was able to learn and do so many cool things while editing it. Please, if you like the video, please like and subscribe, comment, and maybe even share it. Thank you again to my sponsors, and please do check them out. My next video is probably going to be about the Arkham Knight, but probably is not going to be a deep dive. You'll see it when you see it. Until then, have a great day. I'll see you next time.